Shikues të nderuar, jemi këtu në ambientin e bukur të Lamigës, ku në vazhdim do ndisni intervistën me Carlota Valenzuela, e cila është nga Spanja dhe ka zgjedhur një pelegrinë e re ku planifikon të jetë në tokën e Jeruzalemit për Krishtlindjen, por këtë udhëtim do bëj duke ecur. Ajo do vizitojë shumë qytete evropiane, shumë vende të ndryshme dhe po ashtu do arrijë qëllimin e saj dhe të vizitojë edhe disa vende të rëndësishme në historinë e besimit katolik. Atëherë le ta ndjekim intervistën. Carlota, welcome to Montenegro.
Thank you.
Okay, so Carlota, tell us, because you decided to plan this trip and go to the Holy Land of Jerusalem for Christmas. However, you're doing this by walking through different and many countries and see different stuff, see different cities, and also visit the significant places in the history of Catholic faith.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more, tell us how did you decide on this trip, and how did this idea came to your mind, and what motivated this?
So there's only one word that explains all of this madness, and the word is faith. So basically I decided to do this pilgrimage because I felt in a very strong and in a very clear way that this was God's will for me. So that it was this that He placed in my heart, and I just said yes. And since the moment I said yes, what I did was planning a little bit how to get by feet from Spain to Jerusalem. So I was seeing a little bit what countries can I cross and how can I go walking the most of it. And so that was the first step that I took, just designing a little bit the route. And then the 2nd of January, so already 8 months and a half ago, I started walking from the northwest of Spain, from a place called Finisterre that used to be the end of the world, because it's the western point in the continental Europe, and people used to think that after this place, the earth finished. So it made sense for me that going from the end of the world to what for me means the beginning, which is Jerusalem.
Okay, so you started 8.5 months ago. How has this journey been so far?
It's been the adventure of my life. It's been a beautiful journey where I'm not only visiting amazing places, like seeing landscapes, both sea, mountains. I've seen a little bit of everything already, but also I am very much enjoying it because of the people that I meet, because of the people that I have the opportunity to get to know along the way, which is adding so much to this experience.
All these different places that you visited, tell us, how does a normal day of yours go?
The world normal doesn't exist in my pilgrimage.
So is every day different? What do you do in the morning? Mm-hmm. How does your day go?
So every day is different because I have to adapt to the situation, to the place where I'm staying to sleep, to the route if it's longer or shorter. But more or less I'm walking an average of 20 kilometers per day. So I normally wake up early, more or less like 6, 7, and I start between 7 and 8 to walk. I have breakfast first and then I walk depending on the day if it's longer or shorter, but I also take it very easily. So I stop many times to eat something, to rest a little bit, to enjoy the landscapes. And I normally arrive after 4 or 5 in the afternoon to the place where I'm staying that day, and some days I have to look for a place to sleep. Other days I already have something in advance, and then if I know, I'm normally staying with families or religious institutions, so I normally just spend the afternoon with them, chatting, and then
It's gotta be tough though. So finding different people. How did this concern you when you hadn't started already?
I guess that before starting there were many fears, of course, that I was fearing, what if I don't find a place to stay in some of the villages that I'm stopping by, because as you can imagine, I'm not always stopping by in cities or big villages.
Yes.
Some of them are very tiny ones, so sometimes it's hard because there's not a hostel or rooms or something to rent. So this bothered me a little bit at the beginning before starting, but then I found out that people are very generous, and normally there's many people willing to take me in their houses, and already 8 months and a half, and I didn't spend one night sleeping by myself outside. I always found a place to stay. So
Yeah, and I saw it in your, because I follow you on social media like Instagram, and I saw that before coming to Montenegro, you also had like every route figured out with the places and everything to stay. Tell us, how did you feel like coming into Montenegro?
So this was the first country that before entering the country, I already had a place to stay in every village that I stopped. So I was very amazed by the hospitality here. That was a big surprise for me, even before coming. And then here every day I'm just meeting amazing people that are hosting me, that are taking care of me, that are feeding me. And it's amazing because some of them don't even speak any language that I speak. And even though we can't communicate in the same language, we find a way to communicate, and that's just beautiful.
Okay, so basically, as we said, you had the places where you wanted to stay, you had them all covered before coming to Montenegro. So I would say maybe this was like the easiest place to get by. But tell us, how hard were the other routes? Like, maybe you could differentiate a day from the others. Tell us what was a special moment throughout this whole trip.
I have to say that I feel it's getting easier. So like in these countries, like in Croatia, in Bosnia, here in Montenegro, now that I'm entering Albania, I feel it's easier. And I think there are two things that make it easier. First thing is that I feel that the culture here is a very open culture and very, like, there's so welcoming. You can feel that in the faces of people. Like today when I was walking, there was an old woman that came out of her house and just gave me fruit and water.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, okay, thank you. Like, so many things. I feel that the culture here, it has that type of personality. And I also feel that I am more open to these. So when I was in Spain at the beginning in January and February, I was shy to ask for help. I felt that maybe I was disturbing the people if I was asking them for something. So I think these two things played an important role in how it's getting like easier and easier. So the fact that your culture is a very welcoming culture, and also that I am more open to these kind of things. And according to days, as I tell you, like every day I am finding, yesterday, for example, I arrived in a bar. And as soon as I arrived, a man approached me and asked me, do you have a place to stay? So I was like,
Oh, wow.
okay, I just arrived. Yes, I'm fine. I have everything covered. So you can't imagine how many times I get approached by people that ask me, like, do you need anything? Is there anything we can do for you? And that's just beautiful.
That is really beautiful. And like, as you said, you get to meet different people every day. You get to see different cultures, different everything. Before going on this journey, you probably had this hesitation of going to this trip because it's going to be hard finding places and finding people, but then is maybe social media helping you get these people, or what is the best approach to these people?
So what I can do before arriving in the places is just social media. So I post on my Instagram account. I post the places that I'm going to be stopping by and more or less the route that I will be following. So just in case anyone has any contacts in these places, that they can share them with me in advance. And that's been very helpful because I'm getting, this first contact, which for me is also very nice. But then also most of the times just the people that I meet, like today I meet you and I'm telling you tomorrow I'm going to this place, then you might know someone there. So there's one part that is in advance, that is thanks to social media, that is, for me, it's been very helpful. And the second part is just the local, like proximity. So I meet you and, we have a cousin in the next village, and then your cousin has a co-worker in the following one. So I'm like traveling.
My friend told me about Carlota, which heard it from a friend, and he heard it from another friend. So that's how it goes, apparently.
That's how it goes.
So what would you say, like, because you also have a family back in Spain, how supportive were your family of this decision?
So it was not an easy thing for them. Mostly at the beginning, when I told them I'm going by myself, by feet, to such a like such a further destination like Jerusalem. At the beginning, it was hard for them, but I am very lucky to have really nice family. And my parents told me, like, although we don't understand and we are afraid of what you're doing, we support you. So anything we can do for you, we will do it. That was very important for me to find that support in my home. And right now they are like helping me so much, because there's a lot of work behind this, like getting the contacts, planning the routes, like there's a lot of Excel behind this, and I have my mom there like with the computer sending me the Excels, because I cannot work from my cell phone. So now I'm very happy to have my family as a back office.
Yeah, like a sidekick back office, exactly. They probably feel so cool in their homes, like helping.
They're so helpful.
Yes. Throughout this whole journey, like tell us how hard is it, like which country was like the hardest so far to go by?
I think that every country has like pros and cons, so there's always like good and less good things in every country. But it's true that I feel that Spain was the hardest, so even though it's my country, but I think that I was like, I was just at the beginning.
Exactly.
I was a beginner, so I was like, I didn't, for example, with the maps, now I'm very used to the apps that I use for the maps, so I was very, now I don't get lost usually. But when I was in Spain, I got lost many times because I didn't know very well how to use the apps. As I told you, I was a little bit shy to ask for help. I didn't want to bother people. And I have to say that in that sense, Spain was the hardest, but it was because of me. And then when I was in France, I went through these very high mountains in the south of France that are called the Massif Central. And that was a hard time because it was a very high mountain. There were not many villages. It was hard for me to find maybe a place like a small supermarket or to buy something to eat or to buy something to drink. So that was hard. And when I was there, it was April and I got snow. I was not ready for snow at that time of the year. So that was hard. I would say that was like very hard time, but also beautiful, and I learned from that, and I also found amazing people that helped me. But I would say, yeah, that was the hardest.
Was there a country though before, like on your route, that you wanted to visit a long time ago, maybe that was on your like bucket list of what do you want to, where you want to go?
So I had this place in Herzegovina, Medjugorje, that I really wanted to go for a long time, and I was always looking for the moment, but I never found the perfect moment. And they say that the gospel calls you when she wants you to go there. So I was like, she's not calling me. Why don't I find the way to go to Medjugorje? And so when I planned the route, I was like, oh, it's very close to my route. So I took a detour and went to Medjugorje end of August, and that was a huge thing for me.
So now I really want to ask, what's next though? Which country is next, and how do you feel about the upcoming days?
So tomorrow I'm crossing the border to Albania, and I'm so looking forward. I've met many travelers, people that travel for a long time, that have been to many countries, and everyone talks about Albania, everyone. So I'm really looking forward to enter Albania. I've heard there's amazing hospitality, and there's very nice landscapes as well, that the food is very good. So it's a country that and also for us in Spain, it seems so far away, and it's not a very known country in Spain. We don't visit it that much, so I'm very curious, like really want to be there and see what's going on, talk to the people. So tomorrow I'm crossing the border to Albania, so I'm first going to Tirana, and then I'm heading to the coast, and I'm going from north to south by the coast. And it's going to take me about a month, a bit less than a month, to cross Albania from north to south, and then I'll be entering Greece.
Okay, so we gotta get you ready. Like, we gotta prepare you for.
Oh, please,
for Albania,
please do.
Okay, so let's ask. Like, what are the main words you learn? Do you like learn new words before going to the country?
I always try to learn the basics, like hello, how are you? I'm good, thank you, and basic things. So
okay,
please,
so let's do it. Okay, so
Albanian lesson.
You want to say hello?
Hello.
Okay, so përshëndetje.
Përshëndetje.
Përshëndetje, that's perfect.
Përshëndetje.
Përshëndetje. Okay, sie means how are you?
Sie.
Sie.
Okay.
Okay, Like, what else?
How can I ask? Do you speak English or Italian? Because that's my catchy
Okay.
line, and then I can speak all the languages that I truly speak.
Okay, so do you speak English? Is like aflet English?
Afglet English.
Yeah, right?
Afglet.
Af, also adin English.
It's gonna be harder than I thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to write this down.
Oh, yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay, so what else can we
Thank you.
like learn? Another word.
Thank you.
Thank you is faleminderit.
Faleminderit. Those are very long words.
Faleminderit, yep.
Is there
it's a
is there
hard
any
one.
short way of saying thank you?
Not really.
No.
It's, see? It's like
Faleminderit.
Yeah, it's just use faleminderit.
Okay, faleminderit.
That's perfect. Okay, so how do you say thank you?
Faleminderit.
Okay, how do you say hello?
But
Përshëndetje. Yeah.
Përshëndetje. Oh my
Okay,
god,
this is
that's
gonna be
hard.
a hard one, but yeah, I'm gonna write these down for you.
Oh, that would be very, very useful for me.
Okay, so Carlota, we talked about what countries are next and what countries you've been so far, but like, tell us what happens when you do make it to Jerusalem.
So I don't know what will happen after Jerusalem, because this journey, what I'm trying to do in this journey is to open my life to the will of God. So I don't want to make any plans, because if I make plans, I'm just like making it smaller, and what I am capable of imagining is this big.
Exactly.
And what God is capable of giving me is this big. So I don't want to shorten it to my size. I want to be open to His will. So although there's many things that I would like to happen after Jerusalem, and I have them in my mind and in my heart, I don't want to stick to those. You know, I don't want to feel like, oh, I really want that to happen, and then I am closing the possibilities. So when I get to Jerusalem, I just want to be open to the will of God in my life.
Yeah, so exceeding expectations, maybe it will be way better than you expected.
He always does that for me. So I imagine things and He gives me 10 times more, 100 times more, 1,000 times more. So
Yep.
I'm just open to all His surprises.
That's a motivation. If that's not a motivation to go on this journey, then what is?
That's the only motivation.
Exactly. So honestly, I want to ask you if you have, as like before we end up with this interview, I want to ask you if you like have a message for other youngsters, young people that want to do the thing you're doing, and what would that message be?
I would tell the young and not so young people that want to do something like this to don't be afraid, because sometimes we have things inside us. It can be doing a big journey like this, or it can be anything else, and what's stopping us from doing it is just fear. Like, what if I don't succeed? What if something bad happens to me? What if I lose money? What if? And all of these fears are not real. They didn't happen. You're just putting them in your head, and they are stopping you from doing something you really want to do it. So I would tell people, do not be afraid, because if you work hard and if you're persistent, you will achieve the goals you want. Maybe this sounds like very like motivational speech, but I really think that fear is stopping us from doing so many amazing things. And I am an example of this. I was not a sporty person. I didn't know anything about what I'm doing now, and I am succeeding because I said, okay, fear out, I'm just going for it. And I think that would be a good advice for people that want to do something like this.
Okay, so Carlota, this is where we're gonna end this interview. After all, we really thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate having you here, and we hope for the best in your upcoming days and everything that you're gonna go through in the future.
Thank you so much, and I want to take this opportunity also to thank all the people that I met along the way in this amazing country. I am basically all the day posting images about the beautiful beaches in Montenegro, the beautiful Kotor Bay, the mountains, everything. And so I also want to tell people around the world how beautiful Montenegro is, the amazing people that I've met here, and I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that hosted me and that took care of me in this country.